What should we do? With like this, the concert will.
We only have 10 minutes left until it's your turn. What are you going to do?
Since I was little, there was an amazing female violinist who played the music I admired. She was always my goal, my inspiration, and my ideal woman. However, just before her final concert, a stage light struck her from behind the scenes.
Ouch, no.
I heard a small groan from her as she lay in my arms. Looking closer, I saw some kind of shard lodged in her ankle. Her dress was torn, and it was in no condition to let her stand on stage.
I'll do it.
Wait, with that injury and dress?
Because this is my final performance. I can't afford to fail. Please let me go.
But with that foot, you won't be able to stand for long. Plus, the bandage is clearly visible under the hem of your dress. It's like you're telling the audience you just had an accident.
Met.
Seeing her eyes well up with tears, I made up my mind. I'll do something about it.
What are you talking about? What can someone like you do? You're useless.
Jack, the manager, said this in a tone of disbelief, as I was just a janitor. But I would soon perform a miracle I'd never forget. My name is Kyle Smith, and I currently work part-time as a janitor for a music foundation. I clean the halls where concerts are held, as well as the backstage and storage rooms. Between cleaning, I like to watch the empty hall. The hall without any audience is completely silent. When I'm here, it feels like I'm the only one in this vast space, and I get a very luxurious feeling. If I could play in this huge hall, it would probably feel amazing. I stared at my fingers, which wouldn't move as I wanted.
I'm going to be the best violinist in the world, and one day I'll perform in front of a large audience.
Wow, that's amazing. When that happens.
Of course. Let's perform together in the biggest hall in the world.
Yeah,
The two of us, still full of dreams and hope, laughed together and held hands. That dazzling scene came to mind and faded away.
Hey, Kyle, what are you doing? Are you still slacking off here?
The loud voice suddenly snapped me back to reality. This guy is Jack, the manager of the music troupe, and for some reason, he's always been hostile towards me.
The storage room's cleaning isn't done yet. Don't just stand there. Get moving. It's so hard to rely on useless people like you.
Originally, I had been hired to work as a temp at the music troupe. Initially, I was told to start with simple administrative tasks as an apprentice, with the eventual goal of managing sheet music as a librarian. But for some reason, this man took notice of me and assigned me cleaning duties instead.
Are you listening? Forget about the hall. Go to the storage room. Move the stuff that came in yesterday to the back of the storage room. Even an idiot like you can do that, right?
Yes, understood. As I was about to leave the hall with my cleaning supplies, a woman passed by. She was Sarah Miller, the granddaughter of the founder of the music troupe, and, not to mention, my childhood friend.
Kyle, what are you doing here?
She looked at me with cleaning supplies in my hands, tilting her head in confusion. Then, Jack rushed over from behind.
Well, Sarah, welcome. What brings you here today?
I came to discuss next week's charity concert. Jack, why is Kyle carrying cleaning supplies?
Oh, he's a complete rookie who just joined recently, and he doesn't know anything about music. If you're going to work at a music troupe, you need at least some basic knowledge, but he doesn't know anything. Honestly, he's just dead weight, and it's really troublesome. Well, I thought he could at least handle cleaning. so I had him do it, but his slacking habits are really bad, and it's becoming a problem.
When Jack told Sarah this, she glared at him, trying to argue back.
Hey, you. You have no idea what you're talking about, do you? This guy is.
Sarah, I'm fine.
But
It's okay. It's true that I don't know much, and if I'm learning by cleaning, there's no reason to be upset about it. When I stopped her, Jack glared at me, as if to say, "What's this incompetent guy talking about?" But he quickly changed his expression and started flattering Sarah.
Sarah, you're still as beautiful as ever. Just being here adds so much charm. The concert next week is sure to be a huge success, especially with you performing. Now forget about this guy and come have some tea with me.
a silence.
She still seemed like she wanted to argue with Jack, but perhaps she decided to get her business done, as she gave me a reluctant glance before leaving. Later that day, as I was working in the storage room, she came to visit me again.
Kyle, I'm sorry. I didn't want you to have to do this kind of work when I introduced you here. Should I go and speak to Jack?
She apologized with a guilty look, but I told her I was fine with things the way they were. Right now, cleaning is more relaxing for me. Besides, I've never had a proper part-time job before, so it's not exactly a lie when they say I'm useless. I'll try my best to be of help, even if it's just a little.
You're so selfless, Kyle.
She said this with a smile, letting out a small sigh.
Actually, I'm going to perform solo at the upcoming charity concert, but I think this will be my last one.
Why? You've been working so hard towards becoming a professional violinist since you were a kid. I knew she practiced the violin tirelessly for competitions and even when applying to music schools. When she got tendinitis from over-practicing, she still went to the competition after getting a painkiller injection. I thought for sure she was going to continue down the professional path. Why, all of a sudden? When I expressed my surprise, she smiled sadly.
Kyle, you know how I feel, right? I'm just tired.
Then, you should take a break. If you do, I'm sure you'll want to play the violin again, just like before. Her violin playing is wonderful, without flattery. She's even gotten offers from foreign music troupes. She has her own fans, and her solo concerts and original CD releases have been successful. She's already in a position where it wouldn't be wrong to call her a professional, so I couldn't understand why she would give up on that dream. I heard your last solo concert was a full house, right?
Well, from the outside, yeah. But did you know that more than half of the audience were family and people connected to my grandpa's company?
Really?
Yep. You know, when you're on stage, you can see the audience's faces pretty clearly, right? At first, I was so happy thinking that all these people came to hear my violin. But then, when I looked closer, I realized they were all people I knew, and I was so disappointed. I bet my grandpa just wanted to show off his granddaughter, so he handed out tickets. People who weren't really interested, but because they got the tickets from the big shots at the foundation, they couldn't just not show up.
Sarah spoke like she had given up on something.
I practiced so hard, and I thought winning awards at competitions meant I was recognized by everyone. But the world doesn't see it that way. People just think I won because I'm the rich granddaughter of a wealthy family, using money and connections. They think I'm just playing violin as a hobby, as an accessory to my lifestyle, not taking it seriously. Sure, the environment I'm in allows me to get a violin worth several $1,000,000, but no one sees my actual ability. Recently, even when I play the violin, I don't enjoy it at all.
I could feel her pain deeply. The people around her, with their mindless gossip, might just be saying things for fun. But each of those words, spoken with clear malice, hurts the person they're aimed at. She shouldn't care about that kind of gossip. She should ignore the opinions of the small minority and cherish her true fans. People who speak comforting words don't do it easily. But the truth is, only a few people can truly take things that simply. I've definitely noticed that lately, Sarah's playing doesn't seem as lively.
You see, that's why I'm thinking of letting go of it all soon. Of course, I'll still visit welfare facilities like always do. That's something I live for.
I see. I've always really loved your playing, so it's going to be really sad.
Thank you. Please make sure you come to my last concert, Kyle.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch. On the day of Sarah's final concert, I had the day off. As one of her fans, I wanted to make sure I engraved her last performance in my memory. Just as I had made up my mind, I got a phone call. Jack told me there was a vacancy and that I needed to come in. Seriously, of all days.
Why the hell is a low-ranking guy requesting time off? Hey, didn't I tell you to take care of the backstage trash?
I already took care of the backstage trash.
Don't make things up. When I came in this morning, there was trash everywhere, and it was a hassle to clean up. You'd better make sure to take it all to the dumpster.
Although it seemed strange, I headed backstage to carry the trash as he instructed. Today's charity concert was split into two parts. The first half would be the orchestra, and the second half would be Sarah's solo performance. Backstage was crowded with musicians walking around with their instruments, so if there was trash, it would be difficult to pass through. I wanted to finish cleaning quickly so I could at least listen to her performance in the second half.
Kyle, so this is where you were. I couldn't see you, and I was worried you wouldn't come.
There, dressed in her costume, stood Sarah, offering a stiff smile. She must be nervous. Of course I'm here. It's your last concert. I wouldn't miss it. Once I finish cleaning, I'll be in my special seat to listen to your performance properly.
Thank you. I've been so nervous thinking I have to make this perfect since it's the last one. Look at my hands. They're shaking. But when I saw you, I felt reassured.
She smiled while gripping her shaking hands. Then, she looked at the trash bag I was holding with a puzzled expression.
What's that trash bag for?
Oh, Jack told me to move all the trash here to the dumpster. It's in the way when everyone walks by, right?
Right now. Then I'll help out a little, just to distract myself.
No, it's okay, Sarah.
It's fine, really. I just feel like moving around a bit.
Without any hesitation, she in a dress tried to pick up a large trash bag. Just as I hurried to stop her, thinking her beautiful dress would get dirty from doing that, a large stage light, taller than a person, fell toward her. Watch out! I quickly jumped forward to protect her. Both of us fell onto a pile of trash bags. Right after, the light crashed to the floor with a loud smash, the sound echoing through the backstage area.
Ouch. Oh no.
I heard her soft groan from my arms. Looking closely, I saw a shard from the broken light embedded in her ankle. Sarah, are you okay? I quickly checked her, and it turned out the shard was from the broken light. Her dress was badly torn, and the wound on her leg looked painful. This is bad. We need to treat it immediately. I lifted her up and ran to the first aid room. Fortunately, the glass was quickly removed, and the injury wasn't too deep. However, with the injury to her leg and the ruined dress, she couldn't go on stage like this. We'd need at least another hour to treat her injury and prepare a new dress.
What should we do? With like this, the concert will.
At that moment, Jack, the manager, came rushing in, looking for her. After looking at me, Jack made a slightly puzzled expression, then looked down at Sarah's feet and widened his eyes in surprise.
Wait, Sarah, what happened to your injury and dress?
Actually, a light fell backstage and injured me. The injury wasn't as bad as I thought, but my dress got completely ruined.
What are we going to do? There's only 10 minutes left until your performance.
For a moment, Sarah's face looked like she might cry, but then she seemed to gather herself and changed her expression.
I'll do it,
With that injury and dress?
because this is my final stage. I absolutely can't afford to fail. Please, let me go.
But with that foot, you won't be able to stand for more than a few minutes. And on top of that, the bandage is completely visible from under your dress. It's like you're telling the audience that you've just had an accident.
But
It was true. If she went on stage like this, the audience would be more focused on her injured foot than her violin playing. Seeing her eyes filled with tears, I made up my mind. How much time do I need to buy?
What?
I mean, how much time do I need to buy? I'll take care of it.
What are you saying?
I'll buy the time. Until we get a chair that doesn't strain her foot and a new dress ready.
Kyle,
She knew my situation well, but it seemed like she was willing to trust me.
Jack, just for a little while. Yeah, an hour is fine. Can you leave the stage to him?
Him? This guy? Impossible. If you let him on stage, the important charity concert will be ruined.
It's fine. I vouch for his ability. Please, I'm begging you.
No matter how much Sarah asks, I'm in charge of this stage. It's reckless to let someone like him perform.
Refusing to let me on stage, Jack said firmly, "If it fails, I'll take full responsibility. You can fire me or do whatever you want. But today is her final performance. Please, let me do this."
Please let him do it.
Jack glared at me, then scoffed.
If you think you can do it, go ahead and try. You'll be the one taking all the responsibility. Today will probably be the last time I see your face. Serves you right.
He muttered something that seemed like a sour comment and left the first aid room.
"All right, Sarah, I'm off. Don't give up until the end, okay?"
Yeah, I won't give up. You too, Kyle. Do your best.
"Yeah, I'll do my best." I gave her a big nod with a reassuring smile, then walked toward the stage. From the stage, the lively cheers of the audience were audible. The grand orchestra continued playing, and the atmosphere in the venue grew more energetic. Finally, it was time for Sarah's appearance. But instead, a man in casual clothes, who no one seemed to recognize, walked onto the stage.
Where's Sarah?
Who's that guy?
The program changed suddenly? Get the beautiful violinist out here.
Amidst the murmurs of the crowd, I bowed and sat in front of the sleek, black grand piano. My heart raced. It had been a while since I felt the keys under my fingers. "Calm down. I'm fine. This is all for Sarah. Move my fingers." I closed my eyes, exhaled deeply, and thought of her smile. The next moment, my fingers, which had been tense, relaxed and moved freely. At first, I played slowly, but steadily, hitting the keys with confidence. Then, everything my fingers remembered started flowing out. Without thinking, The next melody was seamlessly created. I rearranged a song by a famous British rock band, turning it into something pop and grand at the same time, playing it with a blend of style and depth. I noticed some familiar children in the audience. I played a famous anime tune that little kids would enjoy. Suddenly, the crowd erupted in excitement. Wow! As I continued playing well-known melodies in a lively manner, I could see the people who had been complaining earlier now captivated by my piano playing. Then, when I shifted into the classical music I was good at, I heard more admiring voices from the audience.
Hey, could that be Kyle Smith?
Oh, yeah. That's the famous pianist they called a genius, right?
I know. He was performing with a famous orchestra from Germany.
Yes, I was once a pianist who made a name for myself in domestic competitions, setting numerous records and gaining fame as a genius pianist. I had attended a local music school since I was a child. I grew up in a regular family with no ties to music, and I always thought that only rich kids could afford to learn piano or violin. But when I heard that a cute girl from the neighborhood was attending that school, I begged my parents to let me go too. That girl was her, Sarah. I simply wanted to accompany her violin performances, which is why I started playing the piano. But the more I practiced, the more I fell in love with it. And before I knew it, I became close friends with her, and we started talking about our future dreams.
I want to become the best violinist in the world and one day perform in front of a huge audience.
Wow, that's amazing. When that happens, can I accompany you?
Of course. Let's perform together in the world's biggest hall.
Yeah,
And so, Sarah and I worked hard together, dreaming of sharing the stage in the future. I went on to win first place in numerous competitions and was even called a genius. Right after graduating from music school, I was noticed by a world-renowned conductor and began performing with one of the most famous orchestras in the world. At that time, I never doubted that I would become a professional pianist and perform on stages around the world. But I was just a frog in a well. Even though I was praised domestically, the world level was infinitely higher. I was shocked by the obvious gap in ability between me and the other musicians in the orchestra. The more I tried to perform well, the more I became anxious, and my playing began to fall apart. As I became nervous and made small mistakes, the eyes of those around me grew more critical.
Is this the guy who dominated the domestic competitions? Are you kidding?
The US's food is delicious, but everything else isn't all that impressive.
His playing lacks any sense of playfulness. It doesn't excite you or make it fun to listen to. That's no good.
Every time I received such heartless bashing, my spirit became more and more exhausted. Finally, I made a huge mistake during a major concert. The scornful gazes from the people around me. The disappointed voices of those I trusted. They haunted me every night as nightmares, and soon I couldn't even stand on stage or touch the piano keys. I was diagnosed with PTSD and hyperventilation from anxiety. I was told that my future as a performer was hopeless. I gave up on working abroad and retreated to my home in the US, isolating myself. A dark world without music. I couldn't focus on anything, and even food wouldn't go down my throat properly. Honestly, it was a pretty dangerous situation. In the midst of that crisis, Sarah reached out to me. At first, I couldn't even get out of bed, but she patiently took care of me. She brought me meals, cleaned my room, and slowly took me outside while chatting about random things.
Take it slow. You love music, don't you? As long as you're surrounded by sound, one day your tired heart will regain its strength.
She said that, smiling gently at me. She was always my savior, my understanding friend, and a good companion. For her new beginning on stage, I wanted to make sure this concert ended on a positive note. With that in mind, I stood on stage, and it felt like I finally overcame one of my personal walls. I'm so happy. I couldn't help but let those words slip out. That feeling seemed to come through in my playing, and the audience watching me smiled and their eyes sparkled. After some light music, I ended with a grand finale of striking chords, and as the performance ended, the audience jumped to their feet for a standing ovation. The storm of applause filling the hall left me so moved that I couldn't even speak. Then, I looked toward the side of the stage and saw her, tears streaming down her face. It seemed her dress was ready, and she had changed into a beautiful, pure white gown. I picked up the microphone next to the piano and addressed the audience. Thank you so much for listening to my impromptu performance today. I had been living and working overseas, but due to certain reasons, I couldn't play the piano for a while. But today, I was able to play for all of you, and this is all thanks to her. Let me introduce the best violinist in the world, the one who saved me, Sarah Miller. I escorted her from the side of the stage and back onto it. She bowed to the audience with a beaming smile. Sarah, if you're willing, would you play with me again like we used to?
With pleasure.
We played many pieces together, starting with the piano and violin sonata we practiced as children. The exquisite interplay and merging of the sounds had everyone captivated, listening intently. When the performance ended, the applause from the audience seemed endless. Sarah and I both bowed deeply to the audience.
Kyle, thank you so much. Thanks to you, I was able to give my best performance in the end. Now I have no regrets, because I was able to perform with you again, just like before. This is the best memory of my violin life.
No, Sarah. It's thanks to you that I was able to play the piano again. You've supported me all this time. Thank you so much.
Kyle, your piano is just the best. Hey Kyle, if you're okay with it, would you play with me again?
Of course. If it's with you, Sarah, I'd love to play anytime.
Thank you.
She was genuinely happy for me, as if it were her own victory, that I had overcome my trauma. Then, to the continuing sound of the curtain calls, we played music together again. The smiles and cheers from the audience, and the smile of the person I love. I etched this day into my heart, vowing never to forget it. Later, an investigation team was sent by the foundation to look into the accident where Sarah was injured. Based on the circumstances at the time of the incident and the footage from the security cameras, it was revealed that the incident had been caused by Jack, the manager. It seemed that he had been upset when I entered the music foundation, as I was close to Sarah's grandfather, the chairman of the foundation. He apparently believed that my connection to the chairman and my position in the organization might threaten his role as stage manager in the future. Of course, he claimed that he only intended to intimidate me a little, and had never intended to actually cause any harm. For me, Sarah's grandfather was someone I had known since I was a child, like the old man next door. It's not like I'm particularly close to him or being favored. When Jack heard from the staff about how I joined the orchestra and found out that I was a famous pianist, he was so shocked that he stood there in a daze for a while.
I had no idea you were the so-called genius pianist. I didn't know.
Well, it's been a long time since I stopped performing in the US.
Actually, you and I were both passionate about the same music. I wonder where I went wrong. I'm embarrassed. I know I can't make up for what I've done, but I'm really sorry. Your performance was wonderful. You're being too kind. Honestly, I can't even compare to you. I'm pathetic.
Jack, there's no hierarchy in music. I know how much you love it.
You're such a good guy. How far are you going with this?
Then Jack, with a serious expression, held back tears and quietly apologized.
I'm sorry. I'm really glad your fingers are okay.
Afterward, Jack left the orchestra. No one knows what happened to him, but I hope he's still involved with music. I was officially hired by the Music Foundation and, as planned, was entrusted with managing sheet music as a librarian. Meanwhile, my piano performance became popular, and I started performing in concerts as a pianist. Whenever I play the piano, of course, Sarah plays alongside me. After all that, she also joined the orchestra and has become the music director. Surprisingly, it seems she was really good at it, and now she commands the big men in the orchestra with ease, earning her the nickname Empress rather than Young Lady. Since then, we've been good companions, both in music and in life. We know each other's good and bad times, and we trust each other completely, with no secrets. Why is it that when we play instruments together, our feelings are conveyed more than words ever could? Music has always been a big part of my life. I met her through music, gained fame, and hit rock bottom. But it was music that saved me. From now on, I'll continue playing music with the people I care about, for the people I love. In both the good times and the bad, I'll always feel music by my side.